going? All right, we're going live here on Facebook here this morning. Hope you're having a good morning, and we got to get started here because I got a lot to go through. Tell you what, first off, I guess the big story here this morning is what? Nancy Mace is going to announce for a governor. So that's what we have going on here. She is ready. She is ready for this challenge, I do believe. She's going to be announcing this evening. I did have an article where Fox News says they have the latest from her, and she is Republican firebrand Nancy Mace launches bid for governor for South Carolina. I think it's kind of premature. I read the article. I don't know what you're thinking here, but if you read that article on Fox, it sounds like she has it. I mean, it's very confusing. To me, it doesn't seem to be a very well-written article here, but that's what we've got going. But, so why is she jumping in the race? By the way, I did check. There has never been a tropical storm or hurricane named for Nancy. So get prepared. We're about ready to get blasted here by Nancy Mace. She does believe in making things happen, and she is definitely going to be making things happen. So she says, what did she say to make special announcement? Let's see if that one's going to come up. She says that, Mace has not released the exact details of her announcement. She says it has to do with what she calls mentally ill ideology in public schools in the Palmetto State. She said she's considering a decision she never anticipated, but one she knows is necessary for the future of South Carolina. And, she's had quite a bit to say about She's had quite a bit to say about Alan Wilson. She thinks that oh my goodness, what happened here? She thinks that she is ready to make a bold statement. I don't know, folks. What do you think about the fact that she is going to run? I mean, how do you think this will change up the race? And do you think it's going to do South Carolina any good? That is the question. Is she going to do any good for South Carolina? That's what I want to know. I don't think so. I think that her trash talking mouth is not what we like in South Carolina. She's bringing a different element to this race. So now we'll have how many ducks on the pond? Alan Wilson, Pamela Evett, Josh Kimbrell, Ralph Norman. Did I miss anybody? No, I think there'll be 5 ducks on the pond. This race will all but be over in June of next year. So I guess that is why they have decided that they need to all come on strong. Alan Wilson, of course, is countering with some of the things that Nancy Mace has said about him. He says his record will stand. Nancy Mace says that just, well, look at me. So that's what we got going on with Nancy Mace. Do you have any feelings about Nancy Mace? Okay, who all wants to see Nancy Mace as governor for the great state of South Carolina? That's what I want to know. Who? Can you raise your hands out there if you think Nancy Mace would make a great governor for South Carolina? I will tell you, in the polls, she has some of the highest numbers, which floors me. I think, what did she have? 16%, and that was the top top number. Anyways, coming up on Thursday, we will have, supposed to have, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett will be with us on Thursday morning. It'll be the first Thursday in August, so she will be with us. But again, I would love to know, are you in favor of Nancy Mace running for governor? Typhoon Nancy. Super Typhoon Nancy, also known as the second Murtaugh typhoon, was an extremely powerful tropical cyclone of the 1961 Pacific typhoon season and one of the most intense tropical cyclones on record. Okay, so she wasn't a hurricane, but she was a cyclone on the West Coast. Well, how about that? It's maybe why we couldn't stand it after that, but that was 1961. I wonder if that is possible that there could be a hurricane, but I'm sure that people will make the make the connection with the cyclone and Nancy Mace. Well, let's see if everything is going to be working here this morning. Let's see, is it working now? Yes, it is. All right. So, Mace has launched her campaign, argued we can continue doing the things we've always done, as she took aim at what she called weak leadership in the state. That's the thing about Nancy Mace. She does not mind jumping in and taking the gloves off. Mace went up on a newly launched campaign website. It was a mistake when they did it, or was it? That's the question. Did she really know what she was doing when she let it slip, or her people let it slip, that she was running for governor? It says Mace went up on a newly launched campaign website with a 10-point agenda that she called a clear, conservative, common sense roadmap to rebuild South Carolina from the ground up. She goes, this morning, see, this is what I don't understand. It says, this morning I'm making it official, she told supporters, I'm running for governor because South Carolina doesn't need an empty suit. But her official announcement, I guess, is this evening. Mace, in a recent interview with Fox News Digital ahead of her launch, said that we're starting out front in the lead and it's a two-man race between her and Wilson. And she pledged that I will fight to the finish and I will take out South Carolina's Attorney General because he turned a blind eye on women and on children and on the state for a lot of reasons. He might force me to do this. And then, of course, Wilson vehemently denied Mace's accusation, saying at the time, that allegation was never made to me, no one in my office. So this is the type of race that we are going to have here. Ralph Norman has made some, Josh Kimbrell has made some interesting points. Now, whether the cloud that is over his head, in my opinion, has made some interesting points, and I'm not going to look it up to be exact. I'm just going to tell you what my interpretation of it is. Josh Kimbrell was he in the Senate? I think he's in the Senate, in the South Carolina Senate. He currently has a lawsuit that he's been sued by his business partner. They, of course, have countersued. Who knows where it will go? But one of the things that he said that I thought made a lot of sense to me is that as the governor really does not have a lot of power in our state. It's a legislative state, and Henry McMaster has been a governor, particularly I would say in the last term for sure. But he really has been a governor that has said, send me the bill and I'll sign it. He did that on the budget. He did not get involved in the pay raises. He did not get involved in some other thing that I thought he really should have weighed in on. But that aside, that's the way it was. That's okay. But Josh Kimbrell said that as if he was governor, or when he's governor, maybe that's the way I should put it from his perspective, that he would have weekly meetings with the top Senate and House members to discuss the direction and the shaping of our state. And he said that he wouldn't care where they missed. They could meet at the in his office, they could meet for a beer at some bar, they could meet anywhere but discuss so that they could be on the same page. I thought that is an interesting approach and not one that most that I have heard have said anything about. Now, I'm not saying maybe Henry does meet with the people, but the very fact that, and his other point is, having been in the Senate, he knows how things run. He, by the way, does highlight that, what was it, Carol Campbell was the only other legislator who became governor who had also been in the legislature. So these are some interesting points to look at. So in my opinion, while a lot of people think that this race is over, Nancy Mace thinks that she's going to have it. Ralph Norman is touting his business background, as is funny to me that Ralph Norman is highlighting his business background when Pamela Evatt, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evatt, came out and said that's where her direction, and then Ralph Norman comes in and goes, well, I'm a businessman too. So, and then, of course, Alan Wilson is touting the fact that Henry McMaster came from Attorney General, so therefore this is a logical ascension. I do think it's going to be very interesting who will Henry McMaster endorse. Alan Wilson seems to think that he will endorse him. Lieutenant Governor, by rights, should get his endorsement. I don't think that Nancy Mace has any possibility at all of getting his endorsement, nor do I think that Josh Kimbrell does. So it's really down to Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evatt. There is one little thing that's out there that may throw a monkey wrench into the lieutenant governor getting his endorsement, and that is the fact that I believe word is on the street that his son is going to be running for Attorney General for the great state of South Carolina, McMaster's son. If that is true, then who will the governor have to endorse in order to get the Alan Wilson's endorsement? See, this is where you just never, but you don't know till it happens what's going to happen on politics. But this would be a most interesting turn of events, and I think in my opinion, I think Pamela Evatt would be a terrific governor. I've said it many times before. I will continue to say it. But endorsements matter. Who supports matter. So I think that if the governor comes out and supports Alan Wilson, this is not good for Pam. If then Alan Wilson in turn endorses his son for Attorney General, that would be another one that would be hard to believe, particularly as we look at the possibility of David Stumbo, our solicitor, jumping in the race. So, see, politics is so complicated, and it's all just a big game of chess. And who is going to be on first is the question. So that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit this morning, because I just think that is so much part of what is happening. It is the politics of the politics. But Nancy Mace certainly will stir the drink when she jumps in this evening, if she even waits that long. I think she's already, see, according to that article on Fox, she's already announced everything that I read. She hasn't really announced, but she's hinting about it. I don't know if she can hold off till 7:30 tonight at the Citadel to make her announcement. She may just have to bust out and say, yes, I'm running, and let's get it on to the races and start bashing everybody. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. All right. Anyways, that's a little on Nancy Mace here this morning. And I think that is one of the big stories. Another big story, of course, is Calhoun Falls, what's happening there. I'm not going to go into it this morning, but that town is a wreck, and it is very, very sad for all the people that have paid their taxes, paid their light and water bills and all this type of stuff, well, the water bills particularly, and now to have no money. The staff over there in Calhoun Falls has resigned, and I think they are looking at bringing back a person or something to help take payments and such, but nobody is actually working there, and the money that would be saved from them leaving is roughly $300,000, but you cannot run a town with no help at all, particularly when you have an incompetent mayor. Now, one of the council members has said he's going to run for mayor. I'd say, bless you, but why would you do this? Don't you want to just walk away and say laissez-faire? But anyways, that's maybe we'll go into that on another day. All right. Did you hear that Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner, has been moved to a country club type federal prison in, in Texas? She's out of Florida. They've moved her there. They may have her come. They may not. It's questionable whether she's going to get any deal or anything, but they have moved her to a different prison. Why? I'm not really sure. But that, I think, is another interesting story to watch. Okay, it says she officially enters the race. Here's another thing coming out. Where is it? Let's see. I knew she couldn't wait. Oh. Nope. Okay. I guess I don't see it. All right. Anyways, this is the type of thing that we keep seeing. This is going to happen all day long. She will be teasing this, and I guess she'll have it tonight because they got to have enough people on hand. People just can't be going, oh, well, we already know the answer, Nancy. We're not coming out tonight. It'll be interesting to see, as far as Nancy Mace, one more point, who is actually supporting Nancy Mace for governor. That's what I think will be most important. By the way, if she jumps in the race and Ralph Norman is in the race, the question is, we could end up with 2 new representatives in Congress next year, which would be it takes a while for a new congressman to get their bearings and to get the power. We just look at the Lindsey Graham race, what's happening there. People think they're going to knock Lindsey Graham off. I say, I don't think so, and I haven't seen anybody yet that's going to come in on the Republican side. There are some people that have jumped in, but I just don't see how they're going to do it. And at this moment, the Democrats don't have anybody to offer up. Now, things can change, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay, so back to Ghislaine Maxwell. She has been moved. What does this mean? I have no idea. But I do think that there is something afoot. Maybe they want to make her more comfortable so she'll shut up. Maybe that's the approach they're taking. Maybe they're saying, well, why don't you do this? Or we'll let you play golf once a week. Or we'll let you do this? Can you just fade away and don't say anything more? Russiagate is another thing that's out there and has taken a lot of oxygen out of all the reporting and everything out there. But really, how much information can we personally absorb and take on a daily basis? We can only deal with so much. And I kind of agree with that. I was thinking about this, then saw a show with no, what's his name? Oh Lord, Ann. Most interesting show about how things are changing and how can we absorb so much information. There is only so much you can absorb. You can't be on edge all the time. Now, and Republicans are all excited about the fact that everything that is happening, the big beautiful bill, the border, the economy. Trump fired the messenger who told him his figures weren't as good because he claims it's Democratic interference. But how much can you actually? And I know I talk to a lot of people, and I'll tell them things, and they'll go, "Really? I didn't know that." So I just wonder how many people are as immersed in all this stuff as I am. And I find quite often, it is hard for me to absorb all of it and make a true feeling about how I feel. Sometimes I just become overwhelmed with so much information out there, and sometimes you just want to say stop. But then on the other hand, you can't turn the channel because you know something else is going to happen. So that's kind of where I am. I think some days I just go, oh my God, how much more can we take? This thing with Nancy Mace, I think, is another over-the-top thing. How much more can we take? All right, so that's a little bit about what I'm feeling this morning. Every day we get hit by so much. Every day President Trump and his team is on TV, having, whether it's their news conferences, whatever they're doing. It just seems like so much every day. Would you like to see a little less of President Trump and his team? Would you like just to get a recap at the end of the day, just a little recap, instead of this constant news cycle that they are always out there hitting? I think it might do us good to have a little less, but that's just my personal opinion. I'd love to know what you think. 864-229-7984. I would love to know what you think. All right. Other things that are in the news. As I said before we came live on the air, I was very sad to hear about Lonnie Anderson. Let's see if this will play.
Weather today in the greater Cincinnati area. I love you so badly, I could...
They're solid plastic, so don't settle for imitation.
But the senator, while insisting he was not intoxicated, could not explain his nudity.
Baby, if you've ever wondered whatever became of me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Got kind of tired of packing and unpacking, town to town, up and down the dial. Maybe you and me were never meant to be. Just maybe think of me once in a while. I'm at WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. Lonnie Anderson dies at 79. She won Emmy nominations for her sitcom role as the deceptively smart radio station receptionist, and her divorce from Burt Reynolds landed her in the tabloids. I think if you are of any age and you used to stand in the grocery lines, back when we stood in grocery lines, remember, before groceries were delivered and you had to physically go to the grocery store, it was Lonnie Anderson, Burt Reynolds, and it just went back and forth, back and forth. But she was the platinum blonde receptionist. I read an article, I was reading some clips about her, and one of the things that I read is that when she tried out for this role, she wanted to have more of a role than what they actually wanted her to have. And the other thing is, she wasn't exactly happy to have to be a platinum blonde. She was a brunette, and she wanted to stay a brunette. However, I guess the money got to her, and she decided, oh, what the heck, I'll be the ditzy bombshell character that she was. She made that show. She was that show. But she said she had been a brunette for most of her life, including during her early acting career, and worried that she would not be taken seriously as an actress if she dyed her hair. I was very much on the fence about it, she said in an interview. And anyway, she entered into a relationship with actor Burt Reynolds, who would become her third husband in 1982 when they were filming Stroker Ace, a movie comedy revolving around car racing. It says Miss Anderson, this is from the New York Times, played a rather sweet Marilyn Monroe-like turn as a virginal public relations woman who was the love interest of Mr. Reynolds' character, Vincent Canby wrote in a review. So they married in 88, adopted a son, Quentin Reynolds. The marriage ended in 1993 in a bitter Hollywood split that would serve as a tabloid filler for decades. So they would jab each other in interviews. Burt Reynolds had finally paid off the settlements to Miss Anderson. It was one of the longest and nastiest divorces in Hollywood history, the website that's from TMZ wrote. The truth is, Mr. Reynolds wrote in a memoir released that year, I never did like her. It says the two seemed to have patched things up before his death in 2018. We were friends first and friends last, Miss Anderson said in 2019. It's time to move on. So she was the person, and she was the smart one. She was the one that was capable, and she was the one that, well, it was front and center. I think things like this, when they happen, it just makes you sad, and it makes you realize how old you're actually getting, right? I think we just we focus and we miss out on all the other things in life because we're not able to watch TV as groups like we did. You know, there's a lot to be said for the way life was before internet. Since the internet, it's great. We have all this information. We have everything we could want at any one time. It is absolutely terrific. But we've missed something. We've lost that community spirit, haven't we, that we used to have. And I've talked about this before, whether it's watching WKRP, what was that on, Thursday night? That seems to fly in my brain here. Whether it was that show, whether it was Dallas, Falcon Crest, any of these whodunit type shows. For me, it was always Mission Impossible. I love that show. But since we can binge watch any show that we have now, and since we don't all have to be at home at a certain time to watch it, life has really changed. And therefore, the communication about other things other than current events, I think, or what's happening in your local community as far as kibitzing about, did you see that on Facebook? That's where everything, or Instagram, that's where everything seems to happen. And I think as a people, we are less rich because of it, because of our because of our souls. I just think we are. I think we no longer can. We used to be able to kibitz about what was JR going to do next, what was going to happen with his brother Patrick Ewing. I mean, this was ongoing type stuff, right? And now there's all kinds of shows out there, and people are grouped in shows. Oh, do you watch this show? Do you watch that show? They're grouped in it, but it's not the same as having a nation that sat down for half an hour or an hour show and then came into work the next day and everybody was talking about it. Because so many times our shows are on Netflix, they're on this, they're not on regular TV. So it does exclude people, and people don't get into it. Now, people get into watching a show based on what somebody tells them about the show, then they go back. But nobody is ever in the same track, are they? You're either trying to catch up because you're watching season 1, and somebody else may be on season 3. Somebody else can decide this weekend we're going to watch everything, and all they do is binge watch it. So I think from that standpoint, it's sad. I also think, and this is a topic I guess we'll have to pick up with tomorrow, is how AI is changing and evolving, and how do we control AI, or should we control AI is the question. That is the thing I think you want to think about between now and tomorrow. Should the government try to control AI, or should we just let AI control itself? And what will it mean if AI does start to control itself? Because AI is capable of learning, and it also has a survival instinct. So here we are, putting AI out there. Are we going to be able to control it? Are we going to be able to stop it? That is the question. I don't know the answer, but I want to discuss it tomorrow. I have some interesting information that I think that you'll find quite interesting, so I hope you'll get to tune in tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about AI and is changing and evolving. How do we control it, or should we? Are they controlling it in China? What are they doing over there? These are all things that I think are most important to what we let AI do. You know, we all have this fear that eventually we'll be working for AI. It is conceivable, folks, if we do not put some guardrails out there, that when you want to shut down this model robot, that they'll say, oh, hell no, you're not going to shut me down. I've got a workaround and I'll be back. So this is kind of I've been obsessing about. Also, tomorrow, I want to talk about summer camps. Everybody likes to send their kids to summer camps, and one of the things that has become quite important is sending the snacks and disguising how you send snacks. So this is a tease for tomorrow morning's show. Yes, there is a whole thing of parents sending snacks and how they're making it through having your mail checked to see if, is that just a regular product, or what is in there? And are they checking them? That's another topic. And one more topic that I had hoped to get through today, but I'm not, is how you text uncool. This is another article that's out there that I found most interesting. Do you put periods at the end of your sentences when you text? Do you put question marks when you text? Well, then you could be really just not doing texting right. And people are just saying, you text that way? You must be a boomer. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. I have to go. I've got a very important meeting coming up at 11 o'clock this morning, so I am going to have to go. We're really going to have a jam-packed show tomorrow. Not yesterday, tomorrow. I hope you'll tune in. I don't know, but I expect by the end of today that this show will be up, but also our show from Friday will be up on the website. And if you get a chance, go back and watch the interview that I did with Kenzie Mullet and her daughter Rosie. That show has gone quite viral out there, and the post that I did talking about that show has over 10,000 views, folks. That is just unbelievable to me, but 10,000 views. So if you would like to go back and see that, it already is on Facebook, my Facebook page, WCRS 98.5 FM, 1450 AM. So check that out. That, unfortunately, is where I am at today, but please make sure you stay dry and enjoy this rain. Maybe go outside and just enjoy the rain. Maybe that's what you should do. Just go out and enjoy the rain. Just stand there and let the sprinkles fall on you. It just is so great. Right now, it is 65, still feels like 65. We do have showers in the area. That's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. We'll join our regular program. Thanks so much for tuning in. And don't forget to like and follow me on Facebook so you know when we go live. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.